In the verdant foothills of the northern India, a gentle breeze whispered through the tall grass, and the sunlight filtered through the canopy of ancient trees. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming jasmine. It was in this serene setting that a small group of followers gathered around a serene and radiant figure, Siddhartha Gautama, known as the Buddha. Among the disciples was Ananda, the Buddha's devoted attendant, and a few villagers who had traveled from afar to hear the teachings of the Enlightened One. They sat in respectful silence, eager to absorb the wisdom that would soon be imparted. The Buddha, clad in simple robes and exuding an aura of profound peace, began to speak. His voice was calm and soothing, resonating with the timeless truth of his message. Once there was a king who had 4 wives. The Buddha began, weaving a parable that would illustrate the heart of his teaching. He loved his 4th wife the most and adorned her with rich robes and treated her to the finest delicacies. He also loved his 3rd wife and often showed her off to neighboring kingdoms, though he feared she would one day leave him for another. His 2nd wife was always there for him, a trusted confidant, offering wise counsel in times of need. His 1st wife, however, he neglected and barely noticed, though she loved him deeply and devotedly. The disciples listened intently, their minds picturing the opulent life of the king and the varied fates of his wives. One day, the Buddha continued, the king fell gravely ill. He knew his end was near and feared the journey into the afterlife. Desiring companionship, he asked his 4th wife to accompany him. She refused and walked away without another word. Heartbroken, he turned to his 3rd wife, but she too declined, saying she would remarry after his death. In desperation, he asked his 2nd wife. She gently said that though she could not follow him in death, she would arrange for a proper burial and honor his memory. A hush fell over the group as the Buddha paused, allowing the weight of the story to settle. Finally, the king asked his 1st wife. She replied, "I will go with you wherever you go, my beloved." The king was filled with deep regret for neglecting her love and devotion throughout his life. The Buddha's eyes, filled with compassion, met those of his followers. In this parable, the 4th wife represents our body. No matter how much time and effort we lavish upon it, it cannot follow us beyond death. The 3rd wife symbolizes our possessions and status, which we must leave behind. The 2nd wife stands for our family and friends, who can only accompany us to the grave but no further. The 1st wife, who we often neglect, is our mind and soul, the only part of us that will accompany us beyond this life. The disciples nodded, understanding dawning in their eyes. The essence of our existence, the Buddha continued, is not in material wealth or social standing, but in the cultivation of our inner selves. Through mindfulness, ethical living, and wisdom, we nurture our true selves, preparing for the journey beyond. One of the villagers, a farmer named Keshav, raised his hand hesitantly. "But how do we cultivate this inner self, Lord Buddha?" The Buddha smiled gently. "The path is the Noble Eightfold Path. Right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Each step guides us towards a life of balance, compassion, and insight." Keshav bowed his head, contemplating the profound simplicity of the path laid before him. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the gathering, the Buddha's voice carried on the breeze, a beacon of wisdom and compassion. The disciples felt a deep sense of peace and purpose, their hearts touched by the timeless truths of the Enlightened One. They dispersed, each carrying the seed of enlightenment within them, ready to nurture it through mindful living and compassionate actions. And so, the Buddha's teachings continued to spread, like ripples in a still pond, touching countless lives with the promise of inner peace and ultimate liberation. The moral of the Buddha teaching is that true and lasting fulfillment comes from nurturing our inner self, rather than focusing on external possessions, status, or even physical well-being. While material wealth, social standing, and physical health are transient and will not accompany us beyond death, our mind and soul are eternal. Therefore, we should invest time and effort into developing mindfulness, ethical behavior, and wisdom, as these will guide us towards a meaningful and peaceful existence both in this life and beyond. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the teachings of the Buddha. We hope this story has inspired you to reflect on the importance of nurturing your inner self and embracing the path to enlightenment. If you enjoy this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future stories and teachings. Share this with your friends and family to spread the wisdom of the Buddha. Remember, true peace and fulfillment come from within. Until next time, may you find serenity and wisdom on your path. Namaste.